So if you've watched the Reading Readiness, Learning to Read video, I mentioned that God led us to Abeka in our phonics journey. And so I wanted to spend a couple minutes with you guys just telling you how I implemented this in our home and worked with our kids. First of all of the phonics teacher manuals have been updated and they're fantastic. I have some of the older editions, but I've noticed as I've looked at both that the method is exactly the same. They've just made some really cool changes to make it easier for you, though, in the new manuals. So, in the teacher manual, first of all, I want you to understand that it is all laid out totally for you, completely and clearly. So, the lesson is right here, and this is one complete lesson. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. It tells you what things you need to prepare, what materials, whether it's the charts or the handbook for reading and cards, and then what you can write on the board for the child as you go through the lesson. And then you actually have in bold written what you actually say. So you start out with some review, and then you teach the new material, and then they have the review, which is usually oral or dictation, which is awesome at the very end. So everything is laid out for you and there's no guesswork. So I'm going to kind of just go through what is taught as a whole in the curriculum that is already in here and laid out for you. So in the first step that they teach is that all the short vowels be learned and recognized well by the child. And I love how they use the letter and the picture association. So they say a says a in apple, a. E says in elephant, a. I says in Indian, I. O says in ostrich, a. And U says in umbrella, a. So they learn those well, and then they learn to recognize the consonants. So these are from the packet, the mini alphabet flashcards, and we use these every day, and we love them. They're fantastic, perfect for the size of the child's hand. So they learn the same thing. B says B in bell, B. C says K in cat, K. So it goes through all of the consonants just like that as well. After they learn the short vowels and the consonants, then they learn to blend. So they take a consonant and each of the vowels and they learn to blend. So they do have some blend letter cards that you can use, or you can just use the blend word book or the handbook for reading, and you don't have to use these at all. But they go through all the vowels. Ba, be, bi, ba, and ba. So they learn that, and they do that through all of the consonants. La, le, li, la, la. After they learn those consonant blends with the short sounding vowels, then they are taught to put the one vowel words together. And they learn the rule that says when there is only one vowel in a word, it usually says its short sound. And they have that rule drilled over and over, and the kids learn it really well. So as they learn this, they also learn how to mark the sounds. So these are consonants. So the question is, where's the vowel? How many vowels are there? One? What does that mean? What does our rule say? Oh, well, if there is one vowel in a word, it usually says its short sound. That's right. So we mark it like this, with a little smiley face with no nose and eyes. So that short vowel is marked. So they kind of are detectives, and that's how they learn that short vowel word. The next thing that they learn is the sounds of the long vowels, and this is another huge score for me because the long vowels have different pictures. So A in acorn says A. E in eagle says E. I in ice cream says I. O in open says O. U in uniform says U. So I absolutely love the fact that we have different pictures for the different sounds for these kids' memories. It's just beautiful and fantastic. So as they're learning to write the long, then they learn the 2 vowel words. So the rule they learn with this is when there are 2 vowels in a word, the first vowel says it's long sound and the second vowel is silent. Okay, so we learn that rule over and over orally, and then we learn to mark it. The long vowel is marked with a stick, and then we do a slash through the second vowel. So that's how they mark that. So the questions are, okay, look at the word. How many vowels are in it? 2. That's right. So what does our rule say? Well, it says when there's 2 vowels in the word, the first one says it's long sound. Oh, so you mark that long. And then what does it say about the second vowel? Oh, it says that the second vowel is silent. Good. Mark the silent sound. So that's what they do. And this is repeated over and over again. So they are learning to count the amount of the vowels and then mark them appropriately because of the rule that they've already learned. Brilliant. Genius. Simple. Easy. Whiteboard. Done. All right. So after they do that, then the most fun part that we enjoyed in our homeschool was learning the special sounds. There are over 100 of these, and this is how they learn them. So it's blah in block, BL, fra in frog, FR, splah in splash, SPL, thra in 3, THR. Okay, so they go through and they learn that and they memorize them. And every single lesson in the materials section tells you what ones to pull out and which ones to review. And so there's no guesswork. So then they also learn how to blend with that special sound. So we have blah in block, blah, BL. They're learning to spell, by the way, BL at the end of every sound. So they're memorizing that every time as they drill. And so then they also blend with these special sounds. Blah, bleh, blih, blah, blah. And the beautiful part of these cards is that if you turn them over, you do the long sound. Blay, blee, bly, blow, there you go, and blue. So they have the long sounds on back of all of, even on the single sounds card, just the one consonant. Another awesome thing that I love with this is that remember how the spell to write and read taught the vowels, the different vowel sounds all together. Well, what I love about Abeka is they do end up teaching the different vowel sounds, but they teach them as a special phonics sound that's marked differently. So here's in push, here's I in fly, and here's E in baby, here's in banana. So those are taught at a different time, but they're taught as a special phonics sound. Whenever they encounter a special phonics sound in their reading, they're supposed to, again, count the vowels. How many? 1. So that's short A. But then look, there's splah in splash. There's our special sound. So they circle it. So every time they see a special sound, they circle it. So the first thing they do is count the vowels and mark them so they know how to pronounce it. Then the second thing they do is they find the special sounds and they circle those. And then later in the curriculum, they also do some syllabication with that. So anyway, so that is just a quick overview of how they teach the reading. So the kids end up going through and drilling and eventually learning, memorizing all of those special sounds. You can get the new workbook if you want that does go with each curriculum. This is the grade 2 letters and sounds. I did get this, but I didn't do it very often. Sometimes we would do it orally if I thought, oh, that's a good review, but I didn't use that seat work stuff at all. A really awesome thing about Abeka is that their grades K4 through 2 all integrate the handwriting with the phonics sounds. So in this one, you'll notice that, you know, the but and bell is there. And then here we have like sh and ship. And then they actually do the handwriting with that. So you can get this in manuscript or cursive. So they provide that in the different levels. Here's the K5. So you can also see how they do the letters and the phonics that match with that. So I did do the spelling with in the first grade and stuff. In the second, it was fantastic because it matches the special sounds. It matches the phonics. They integrate what they're teaching with the spelling and the phonics, and I love it. I don't really use the book very much, though. They have a complete instructions in the teacher manual for it, and so I felt like, you know, the workbook was busy work, but so, and as far as the readers, they do have special readers to go with each level that help them read and learn. Honestly, we never got past the third reader of any grade because they learned to read so quickly with this program that they would rather read whatever they want. And they can. So we would use maybe the first 3 readers, and then they would go off and do their own thing and read the other books that they would enjoy. So anyway, I hope that I covered what we like about Abeka and what I do differently. I don't do any of the seat work and all the extra stuff in there. I just do what I talked about. Thanks. See you next time.